Coming up on this edition of Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports, I'm Chase Sr. Could the Eagles trade Tanner McKee to the New Orleans Saints to team him back up with Kellen Moore after the surprise retirement of Derek Carr? We're going to talk about that. And also, since the year 2000, the turn of the century, the Eagles have been relevant and successful. The Dallas Cowboys, on the other hand, have been irrelevant. The numbers that we're going to discuss might surprise some people. We're talking some Eagles because that's what we always do. And a reminder to subscribe and turn on your notifications for coverage every single day of the Birds. In particular, and specifically, on Wednesday, it is NFL schedule release day. As soon as we get that schedule in our hands, we're going to be putting out a video right here on the channel with a lot of analysis. We'll go game by game so that you can get a look at what awaits for Philadelphia in 2025. Let's begin with this news over the weekend, and it came as a surprise. We knew that Derek Carr was dealing with the shoulder injury that popped up out of nowhere, and his future with the Saints was in question. We didn't know that his NFL future was in question or in doubt, but he is retiring after more than a decade in the National Football League. A second-round pick out of Fresno State, went on to have a very interesting career, as we're about to talk about. And here was part of the Saints statement. A lot of this has to do with that shoulder injury. In late March, while ramping up his preparation for the 2025 season, Derek experienced pain in his right shoulder. It was his first time throwing a football at significant volume since recovering from both a concussion and a left-hand injury sustained during play on December 8th of 2024, that game against the New York Giants. Derek immediately contacted the Saints medical team, and eventually medical scans determined objectively that Derek sustained a labral tear and also had significant degenerative changes to his rotator cuff. That is a double whammy of sorts. When you have a labrum injury and a rotator cuff injury on your shoulder, specifically just individually, right? Those are two of the worst injuries that could happen to a quarterback or a pitcher. And so for them to both pop up for Derek Carr, unfortunate. And as I mentioned, what an interesting career for him. Four-time Pro Bowler. He is top 25 all-time in passing yards. A lot of people would probably never guess that, at least for me. I was like, really? More than 41,000 passing yards for his career. So 22nd in the history of the National Football League. More than 3,700 completions. That's 20th all-time. He threw 257 passing touchdowns. That was 22nd in the history of this league. And had a 92 career passer rating. That's also top 25 all time. But a big reason why he doesn't get that much credit and why people are kind of making fun of him on his way out, which I kind of disagree with. I know that the end of his Raiders stint was weird and the Saints tenure never worked out, but always a guy of high character. Probably would have won NFL MVP in 2016 if he didn't snap his ankle or his leg. He was having a great year that year. So too were the Raiders. And after that injury, his career really got derailed. That injury happened. Matt McGloin had to start that playoff game against the Houston Texans. The Raiders at that time got worked, and he had 3 career winning seasons. 0 career playoff wins. But I think context is really important, right? He goes to the Raiders, and he had a great career at Fresno State, trying to follow in the footsteps of his brother, and that Raider situation wasn't good. That was an organization that then and still has lacked structure and stability, and it was a mess. Throughout the early portion of Carr's tenure with the Oakland Raiders, they were trying to focus on how to move to Las Vegas. They weren't really focused on winning. He was going through head coaches, and then he demands out from the Raiders. He goes to the New Orleans Saints, and that decision for him was just really weird. He teamed back up with Dennis Allen because they had that connection with the Raiders, but you're going to hitch on and your career is going to lean on Dennis Allen, who has been a disaster as a coach with the Raiders and with the Saints. And so with how his career started, Carr's career never really ended up being as successful as what people thought, especially when he had that 2016 season. Never recovered from that ankle injury, was dealing with a lot of organizational and coach dysfunction, and then he did play poorly in big games, and then he has 0 career playoff wins. And that's why people are kind of mocking him as he decided to call it quits. Now, an interesting question here. Could he pull a Sean Payton? Sean Payton retired, went into broadcasting, then he got traded from the Saints to the Broncos. Could Carr retire, take 2025 off, maybe 2026 off, and then we get that classic alert? The tweet notification comes in either a year or 2 years. Derek Carr is attempting a comeback, and he wants to continue his NFL career. Derek Carr could come out of retirement. We'll see. It's completely possible. The reason that we're talking about this on today's show is because of this quarterback competition here for New Orleans going into 2025 under Kellen Moore, former Eagles offensive coordinator. The Saints are going to have a 3-man quarterback competition. They drafted Tyler Shuck out of Louisville in the second round. He's a 25-year-old rookie, soon to be 26. They have Jake Haener out of Fresno State. I don't think he's a high-quality NFL quarterback. He's a fringe QB3 for me. And then Spencer Rattler also included in that quarterback competition. One of the most highly touted recruits coming out of high school. Went to Oklahoma, played under Lincoln Riley, did not play well, got replaced by Caleb Williams. I was actually at Caleb Williams' first career college start when Oklahoma was on the road, or they were at home, against TCU. And so Rattler flames out with Oklahoma, but he went to South Carolina, ended up playing well. Not tall, but has a good arm and does have that quarterback pedigree. So that is the 3-man competition for New Orleans. And so could the Eagles trade Tanner McKee to the Saints after Derek Carr retired, and could he immediately become the best Saints quarterback and New Orleans' starting quarterback? I think that Tanner McKee can be a really good player in this league. I think he's one of the top backups in the league, and I think at some point he can become a really good starter. What does Kellen Moore think? Kellen Moore elected to not draft Shedeur Sanders. They went Tyler Shuck in the second round. Kellen Moore has familiarity with McKee. Tanner McKee played very well under Kellen Moore last year. McKee is on his rookie contract for the next 2 years. You could just trade for McKee, have him compete with Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener and Tyler Shuck. You could just release Jake Haener, and if it doesn't work out, McKee is probably your number 2, or he could win that starting job. Because where the Saints are right now, they are entering potentially a full rebuild where they could tear it down under Moore, try to rebuild, and what you have to do to start that rebuilding process is to find your quarterback. You take the swing on Tyler Shuck, you see if he works out, but I think it would make a lot of sense for New Orleans to make this move, but would Howie Roseman make this move? Realistically, if the Eagles were to trade McKee away, I think Philadelphia could get a second-round pick, maybe more realistically, a third-round pick. Keep in mind the position that McKee plays. It's the quarterback position, and I know that you used the second on Shuck, but look, he has question marks around his game. And you, as an organization, need to continue to take chances and swings on the quarterback position. And so my trade idea is this one. Saints get Tanner McKee. Eagles ask for either a second or a third-round pick. The Saints have both of those in the 2026 NFL Draft. And then you flip the page and look and think about this Eagles quarterback situation. Jalen Hurts is not going anywhere. He'll continue to be your QB1. And then you could keep both Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Kyle McCord, and you have them duke it out to be QB2. Whoever doesn't win the QB2 battle, they become the third stringer. And that quarterback room, it's good enough. I know DTR didn't play well for the Cleveland Browns after being a fifth-round pick out of UCLA, but the Eagles liked him in the pre-draft. They brought him in on a top 30 visit. I like the game coming out of UCLA. I think that he can develop in this Eagles quarterback factory. Kyle McCord was one of my favorite quarterbacks in this draft class. I think that he can become really good. And then instead of losing McKee after this year or next year for nothing, you can net some draft picks or a pick back for him, and it could be a second or third rounder. Now, when I scout McKee, I've been saying this since the Eagles took him late in the draft a couple of years ago out of Stanford, and he played very well in the preseason. You see clearly the elite size at 6'6", 231, and so he's able to survey the field and see over the line with that size. He throws with elite touch, accuracy, and anticipation. You especially see that with the back shoulder balls, the timing throws. He's also a quick decision maker, and he has a good pocket feel. That helps him because he's not going to make plays out of structure with his legs. But that good pocket feel and good pocket maneuverability allows him to step up in the pocket when he feels it's collapsing. He can absorb hits with that size, and with that size and that height, with that good vision, he's able to see the field. He came in for Kenny Pickett against the Dallas Cowboys the second to last week of the regular season this past year, and he was 3 of 4, and 2 of his completions went for touchdowns. Unbelievable stat line for 54 yards, a passer rating perfect at 156.2. And then he got his first career start against the New York Giants. Keep in mind, this was the regular season finale. The Eagles had everything locked up, NFC East. They were going to be the number 2 seed, and so they rested all of their starters. And with the Eagles' number 2s, Tanner McKee led the Eagles to a win and carved up the New York Giants when the Giants were playing their 1s. 27 of 41, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and a passer rating of 100.6. The touchdowns he threw in both of those games, against Dallas, against New York, we saw some high-level, big boy, NFL starter quality throws. So I want you to be the general manager here. Would you ask, or what would you ask for in a Tanner McKee trade? What would be that type of value that you're looking for if you were in the shoes of Howie Roseman? I want you to let me know down in the comments section. I like McKee a lot. I think that I would hold on to him for another year, gauge what his value might be after 2025. But if that offer from the Saints or another team is a vast one, and it's lucrative, it's sexy, it's appealing to the eye, you might be tempted to make a move. I want to hear from you down in the comment section, as always. If you want to get an Eagles jersey, plenty available thanks to our friends at Fanatics. It's a very simple process. You use that link down below, chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. It takes you to Fanatics. You go on the Fanatics site, and you see all types of jerseys available. If you want other merchandise outside of jerseys, polos, shirts, pants, slides, memorabilia for your man cave, you can still use that link down below because you can find everything thanks to our friends at Fanatics. Current players, old players, and again, all types of things available because Fanatics has it all. Chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. Going to put that link down below in the show notes and attached to the pinned comment of today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there was breaking news on this Monday, May 12th, as we woke up this morning that the Philadelphia Eagles opponent for Week 1 to kick off the season is official. Eagles-Cowboys at the link to officially start the 2025 NFL season. The game will take place on Thursday, September 4th at Lincoln Financial Field. Kickoff is set for 8:20 p.m. Eastern. You can watch that game on NBC, Peacock, YouTube TV. But, of course, we're going to be doing a watch party for it right here on Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we showed you the thumbnail, my reaction to that, a lot of insight, a preview for that game, and the last time that the Eagles and Cowboys met, all available on that video, which is up on Eagles Now. Be sure to check that out. And the last time that the Eagles and Cowboys played in a season opener was all the way back in 2000. That was the Pickle Juice game. And I went back and I looked at the history between the Eagles and the Cowboys because really since the turn of the century, these are two organizations that have been on wildly different paths. And I put this up on the community tab on the YouTube channel. But it really is crazy how successful the Eagles have been and how they've had so much high-level success and how unsuccessful the Dallas Cowboys have been. The Eagles have been relevant. They've been a powerhouse. They've been one of the model organizations in the game. The Dallas Cowboys have been the opposite. Since the Eagles and Cowboys last played in a season opener which was in September of 2000, the Eagles have 17 playoff appearances. They have been to 8 NFC championship games. They have played in 4 Super Bowls, and they have 2 Lombardi trophies. The Dallas Cowboys, on the other hand, they have been to 10 playoff appearances. They have 0 conference championship games. And so when Cowboy fans always try to say, we got 5 rings, you have 2 since 2017, but you have 2, they have to get out the Swiffer and they have to dust off their accolades. And nothing that they say is relevant. Sports, business, it's all about what have you done for me lately? Relationships, friendships, what have you done for me lately? Since 2000, you look at the numbers, it is not even close, this rivalry between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Yet Cowboys fans will always say, we're better than you, the Eagles stink, Jalen Hurts stinks, Dak is still better. It's all ludicrous, and it's all classic Cowboys jargon because all Cowboy fans are the same. They're all dysfunctional. They all think that every year is going to be their year, and every year results in the same thing happening. They either choke, they're bad, or they end up falling short of expectations. What happens with the Eagles? More times than not, they have success, they win big games, and they have been the model organization, or at least one of them, since the year 2000, alongside the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Philadelphia Eagles are in that category. If you're still hanging out here on the show, I want you to give me a Go Birds down in the comments section. Give me an F Dallas if you want to, because F the Cowboys.